So I met this auntie today on my way to drop off, and she was one of 8 kids, and her mum lived to be 96. So the one-child policy came in like the late 70s, early 80s, and it was a way of controlling the population because earlier in the century, like in the 1950s, Mao Zedong had a policy as part of his communist mission to make China a strong country and encouraged everyone to have lots of babies. So they did. In the 1950s, they had heaps of babies. So families had like 6, 7 or 8 kids. And then later they realized, we're going to be a bit of a problem. We're going to have too many people. So in late 70s, they decided to reduce the population by being very restrictive on the number of children people could have. If people got married and had one child, then they were not allowed to have any more. Abortions are really common, and people are, not free to have as many children as they like. It is changing slightly. So if a couple get married now and they're both single children, they are allowed to have 2 children. But if that's not the case, if you have more brothers and sisters in your family, then you can only have 1. If you have more, then you'll pay a big fine. The problem is lots of people in the villages, they know the government workers, and so they can kind of get around the fine. So you'll find lots of little families with 2 kids trotting around, but they just are not as common. So our family with 3 children in China, we've become quite famous in our little neighborhood, with everyone going, wow, 3 children. It is kind of sad for the Chinese people, I think, because they've grown up with this culture that to have more children is to have a prosperous life. There's actually a saying, 多子多福, which means lots of children, lots of prosperity. I actually think it's taken a big toll, especially on the women, because, women have this biological, lots of women have a biological need to reproduce. People also see that raising an extra child as well as paying a fine is a big cost, and people are also wanting to live a really rich life and have what they want, and so they see that there's sense in the policy as well. It's kind of a bit of a touchy subject. Well, I just wanted to give you my perspective on where it's at now, because there's a little bit of confusion about it. If you like this video, then come over to my website, please, studiochina.com.au, and sign up to my email list. And then you'll be sure to get each of my new videos and anything else exciting happening here at Studio China every week in an update from me. I'll see you next week for another exciting episode of Studio China Chats.